I want to start by talking about Mark Busey. He is John McCain's chief of staff, and he is gay. That news became very public in the last couple of weeks. Today we learned that he also was a lobbyist for Freddie Mac, as John McCain was criticizing Obama for having advisors who were connected to Freddie Mac. This became another part of the story. But the fact that he was gay and someone very well known to be gay in Washington, and John McCain, of course, somebody who has said that he is opposed to any measure that would give rights to gay people and supports these marriage amendments. You said in an article last week that you believed, first off, about the article about Mark Busey, the news that came out about Mark Busey, that's the reason this little thing was leaked. The pro-gay anti-church groups see themselves in a deathlock in a war, and they hope to create a sense of disunity among Christians around the question, can we really trust McCain? I'm curious, though. Don't you think you should know? Weren't you interested? Isn't it something you would want to know about if John McCain has a lot of gay people, openly gay people around him who support gay rights?
Well, here's the thing. I think the marriage amendment issue is not about, in the view that I hold, it's not a civil rights issue. This is a very, very big debate. I feel like many things that are projected in terms of the ability to visit your partner, health care benefits, a number of benefits along this line, I think we've done a disservice to the culture by the following thing. So not separating out the civil rights from what I'm going to call the definition of marriage as an institution. My concern is not with gays. I don't feel like I'm anti-gay. My issue is I'm looking at this from specifically a black community perspective, and I'm also connected and a leader in the overall Christian evangelical movement. I sit on the board of National Association of Evangelicals and others. My issue is I'm living in a community that 8 out of 10 black babies are born out of wedlock. 40% of our young black women will remain single, never get married. Marriages are at 50% breakdown level for the first marriage, probably remarriage 60-some% on the second marriage. By the time you get to the third marriage, 75% plus chance that those marriages will end.
Well, I understand that the issue of marriage, then, is your issue. But do you feel, then, would you support fully a federal civil unions bill, a domestic partnership bill federally? Yes, I would. I would say a domestic partnership bill is probably the way we will have to go in the nation, because of how things have come down. And I also think, though, that both parties have done us a disservice by not teasing out or specifying the specific laws, what you would call the civil rights issues that are at stake in a very specific way. I think it's been to the benefit, quite frankly, of previous Republican administrations to just globalize the whole thing as opposed to talking. Well, but you know that many evangelical leaders are opposed to civil unions, domestic partnership, anti-discrimination laws, hate crime laws. I mean, they're opposed to every gay rights measure.
Well, yeah, and let me break into that. Some of the issues with like hate crime laws, have not been for federalizing the hate crime laws for this specific reason, and that is that there are, again, I see politics at work in this, and that there are loopholes, as far as I understood those laws, that would potentially lead to muzzling what churches can preach about in terms of what I would call biblical morality, which include gay lifestyle, gay sexual activity.
Yeah, you opposed the Matthew Shepard Act, which was a hate crime.
I sure did.
Now, we could get into that, and I disagree, of course, and I don't believe that there are those loopholes in there that muzzle religion, but there are a couple of other things I wanted to ask you about regard to this Busey story, and then Sarah Palin as well.
Yep.
Mark Busey is gay. He's John McCain's chief of staff, as we said. And when you said that in this article that you thought that it was brought out to put pressure on Christians, you did say, however, that because of it, you feel John McCain needs to be more forceful in his coming out in favor of these marriage amendments. And some other Christian leaders have said both he and Sarah Palin need to be more forceful.
I think they need to be more forceful. Let me back up and tell you what I said that probably didn't get communicated. I said that, and sometimes we get media spin on these issues, so let me just be clear. The fact that the man is gay shouldn't have anything to do with his job performance or his career opportunities. This is the thing we are trying to overcome, attacking people because of who they are, whether it be race, whether it be sex, or whether it be sexual preference. And so my thought is that the way they came at me with the story originally was more, his chief of staff was gay. What do you think about that? Does that make him a hypocrite, McCain? And my answer was no. You are not hiring somebody in that kind of position based on...
But let me ask you this. Don't you think that if John McCain is associating with and close friends with someone who is gay and supports gay rights, that he might be, and there are many politicians like this, saying to him, look, you have to understand, I have to, string these people along and let them think I support their agenda. But of course I support you. It's going to take some years, though. You have to understand. The Republican Party is dealing with this issue. And, I'll just, because, it was also reported that John McCain had spoken to an anti-gay leader years ago and then apologized to his chief of staff about it, said he didn't know. And he seems to sort of have an implicit sort of, understanding with the gay people around him that, look, this is our party, I got to do it, but I'm not going to do anything anti-gay. I may say I support something, but it doesn't go through. And I mean, when we look at George Bush, for example, was the federal marriage amendment even talked about after they didn't need it anymore for political reasons? No. So doesn't it give you some thought that John McCain's not really being genuine with you?
Well, I don't know about that. I guess here's where I see the battle, as you quoted me earlier, and that is I see a need to define marriage and for churches specifically to teach their own people how to keep their own commitments in the context of a traditional heterosexual marriage, that we're failing on both ends, failing on basic teaching about relationships and helping people stay together, and we're failing on, if the thing gets more redefined, in the black community first, marriage could become extinct as we know it today, and then second, the broader community, white community and Hispanic communities go down right behind us. That being said, my concern about John McCain stepping up and being more articulate about defense or sort of marriage amendments has more to do purely in my world with protecting the definition of marriage as being between one man and a woman as cultural guardrails, as I would call it.
Well, let me just ask you this then. Yep. You then would agree with 90% of Obama and Joe Biden's positions on these issues because they oppose marriage and they favor civil unions and domestic partnership. You say you favor that. The only difference between them and John McCain is that they don't support the marriage amendments. But John McCain doesn't even support the federal marriage amendment.
Well, yeah. Let me kind of tease this out a little bit. The reason I say that I will work with the civil unions, et cetera, that may not have been my original position. I think it's a reality that we've already had laws in New Jersey. We have issues around the country. The reality is gay civil unions are going to be the law of the land all over the country.